All right, let's talk about The Studio, which is available now on Apple TV Plus. They released two episodes last Wednesday. I know I'm behind. A new episode this upcoming Wednesday. And this is going to be a non spoiler review, as normally for new shows, I like to keep it spoiler free so that you guys can kind of have my initial reaction to the show and see if I recommend it or not. And yeah, let's get into it. The next episode, we will dive into spoilers though and break it down, so just be aware. And as will be for the following episodes until the finale and so forth. But again, like I said, just for when I do a new show, I like to keep the first review as a non spoiler. But nonetheless, I was very excited for this show when I heard about it. I've been a longtime fan of Seth Rogen. He's been one of my favorite filmmakers, human beings, uh, ever since I can remember. And when I saw this coming out, I immediately thought this is just perfect for him. And it really kind of hit home for me, realizing that him and his writing partner Evan Goldberg, who he does pretty much everything with. They have always kind of written where they are in life, if that makes sense. They wrote Superbad when they were 13. Yes, it released many years later, but the heart of it and most of the script was from their 13-year-old self script and so forth. Each movie it felt like they were kind of maturing a bit. Sure, they had their wild, fun, silly moments, everyone's allowed to. But really, like, super bad, and then, like, the super bad years, and then there was, like, Knocked Up came out before. I can't remember now. Did Knocked Up came out before or after? Let me see real quick. Sorry, I'm very curious, but basically, like, the super bad years, and then Funny People. I felt like he was maturing more and was reflective of kind of a lot of his life. And Neighbors also was a big one because it was kind of like showing his family life a little bit more, and getting a new house and stuff like that. It was very reflective of where he was, and the studio now. They've been producing films, and they do have their own company and have been doing a lot more directing and stuff as well. They directed This Is the End, many other things as well. So it's a beautiful show. I think it's the best thing that they've ever shot as directors. They do direct the first two episodes. I don't think they get writing credits. I think they get created by credits for this one. But outstanding. It really has shown how much they've grown and matured and have learned as filmmakers, and is a really impressive show. And I think people who aren't just fans of Seth Rogen's will be able to enjoy this, especially people in the film business, people who are interested in film, people who love movies, people who are fans of these other actors, these other wonderful people that we get to see in the show. I won't spoil it, but we get many familiar faces. I do think that a lot of those faces happen to be people that, if you know Seth Rogen's career really well, they clearly are people he's worked with over the years, who are kind of coming back as a favor and friend of his. A lot of new faces too. Clearly he does get those cameos, but Ike Barinholtz, who's he's a regular on the show, but he's been somebody they worked with many times on Neighbors, who they include Nicholas Stoller, who directed Forgetting Sarah Marshall and Neighbors 1 and 2. And so they're good friends with Nick Stoller. And oh man, what's the David Krumholtz they work with a lot, who's in this show. The first episode is really great. I think people have been calling it the Martin Scorsese episode, uh, or I won't say anymore. I don't want to spoil it for people. And then the second episode is the oneer episode, the one shot episode, the one take episode. I mean, which is really wonderful and also really hard to watch at the same time because of Seth Rogen's character. But anyways, I highly recommend. It's very smart, very funny, and really honest about the film industry. You know, having worked in it myself, not at his level, you know, not at the executive level, but I've been on sets. You know, it is honest and true to a lot of those moments. I felt like, and they always kind of have been with their work. Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, which I respect. So, I guess my only complaint was, despite how incredibly creative and well done the second episode is, I did feel it didn't really move the story that much forward. We'll see. Maybe it does. Again, it's only the second episode. It did seem a little bit too much leaning on the one take aspect, but we'll see how much this furthers the story. I felt like I thought what was established in the first episode was going to be the spine of this season, but it didn't seem like it even got referenced in the second episode. It almost felt like kind of a, in a one way, in a way, a oneer, like a short film or something. Um, but it wasn't enough for me to dislike it. You know, like I, if I had to pick a complaint, it would be like, yeah, it didn't really seem like it. It felt so like much like a side story or like a little vignette. I could totally imagine the whole season kind of doing these little vignettes of the executive life. But I do feel like there's a bigger story at hand that they could focus on, but we'll see. It's a little too soon to tell. Nonetheless, I'm going to watch it and enjoy it, and again, still recommend it. I really love this show. Definitely one of my favorite things I've watched in 2025. And it's exciting, especially if you're a Seth Rogen fan, to see kind of where he's at today, and it truly is reflective of where he's at in life, as most of his work is. But would love to hear what you guys thought of the studio. Let me know down below. Stay tuned for the next episode on Wednesday. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day.